Hello everyone, my name is Mike Clancy and I'm a former APUSH history teacher turned software developer. Today I want to show you some advanced tools with ChatGPT that you can use to help you create unit plans and lesson plans. These tools are going to be a lot more creative than the out-of-the-box ChatGPT that you may have already been playing around with. In this video we're going to learn how to create custom GPTs. This is a feature of ChatGPT Plus. And so if you do not have a ChatGPT Plus account, you will not be able to create these custom GPTs. However, after watching this video, hopefully you'll see the benefit of this and maybe consider subscribing. Before we create a custom GPT, let's get a baseline from our out-of-the-box ChatGPT models. This is GPT 4.0, and let's see what we would get with this prompt. Can you help me create a unit plan for my APUSH history class? I need one for Unit 1. So looking over the response from ChatGPT, it's about what I expect. It did a pretty good job defining the objectives from the APUSH history curriculum. It has some pretty generic ideas for lessons and assessments, right? Quizzes, class discussions, exit tickets. We have an outline here of each day and an objective that we need to cover. We don't have a lot when it comes to activities or content. And as I'm looking through this, it doesn't really fit my style of unit outlines. I'm going to want to have more details listed for each day. Things like an introduction, hook, maybe a group activity. I may want a list of materials I'm going to need or possible reading assignments. And so this is where we can use custom GPTs to have a much more creative assistant that can help us with these kind of tasks. So let's look at how we can improve this. So in order to create a custom GPT, you look to the left side nav, and at the bottom you'll see this Explore GPTs. Click on that link, and you'll see there's a store of GPTs already created, and you can create your own up in the top. That'll take you to a blank template where you can define your GPT. It's going to have a section for name, description, instructions. That's the most important section that's going to dictate how your GPT behaves. The optional conversation starters, these will appear as clickable links here underneath. Knowledge files, where you can upload files that you want your custom GPT to use. And then capabilities. These will be things like web browsing, DALL-E image generation, and the code interpreter and data analysis. I typically turn that on because it allows your GPT to export files to you in Excel format or PDFs. Now, rather than filling one of these out together, I'm going to show you one that I've already created for this purpose. And so let's take a look at the directions I've created for this APUSH History Unit 1 planner. I've included quite a bit, and I've provided examples as well because I really want it to create unit plans and lesson plans in a particular format. So the first thing I have is using your knowledge base. Those are the files I've uploaded. Your primary task is to help teachers create engaging and detailed lessons for each standard in the Unit 1 guide. Tasks might include helping teachers design a lesson calendar that meets all standards for Unit 1 provided. Assume teachers have 5 50-minute sessions a week. Help teacher develop detailed and engaging lesson plans from the outline when requested. Provide useful outputs for the teacher when requested. Typical calendar outlines should contain 5 lessons a week and should be short and concise. They should focus on listing out the objectives of the lesson, the text used in the lesson, as well as a brief description of the introduction, content activity, and assessment and homework. So there's what I want for my unit guide. For my lesson structure, I also define what I want. So I have an introduction, content presentation, activity, and assessments. And I have an example for each. So there's my directions that my GPT will use. Let's talk now about the knowledge base, because this really influences my GPT as well. These are files that I have uploaded that I want it to use. So let's take a look at some of the knowledge files I've uploaded. So these are going to be the files that my GPT really relies on when answering my questions. So first, let's talk about the content. I use a number of articles from an open source textbook, the American Yop, and I downloaded chapters 1 and 2 as PDFs and added those to the knowledge base. I also pulled a few resources that I'm really hoping that the GPT will use in its lessons from the Gilderman-Lehrman Institute. So I've got this article here, a couple others. Here I think I've got this primary source in there as a knowledge file. And then the other thing I did is I added the APUS history curriculum from their site and added that here. And I also added some articles from Edutopia about different engaging lesson ideas that I'm hoping it'll pull from. So those really are just PDFs. I went out to the site and I kind of did a print to PDF. And so I've got 17 engaging reading activities for high school. I've got 5 discussion strategies to deepen student engagement. I've got increasing the value of graphic organizers. And I've got this 10 engaging lesson hooks from Edutopia as well that lists out a number of different kind of introduction hooks. So all of those files are in the knowledge base, and they should influence the kind of responses that I get. Okay, so now it's time to test it out. Let's start with our prompt. Can you help me plan Unit 1 for my APUS history class? All right, once we've got our response, we can look through and we can see that it is definitely using some of the knowledge articles that I've attached. So we've got text used right from the American Yop. I'll also see in the hook, there's a lot of ideas coming from the article. So show a clip on Cahokia. Group discussion using a fishbowl strategy and the importance of urban centers in pre-Columbian America. So it's using my article on reading strategies. Use a think, pair, share activity to discuss what students know about Native American societies. Create a Venn diagram. So you can see it's really pulling from a lot of our sources. There's a few mistakes in there. Homework. I don't really need students to read the 17 best engaging reading activities. And so just remember, it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to really help bounce ideas off your assistant to get you off the ground and running. So once we have this and we like it, we can also ask it to do things like this. Can you export this as an Excel sheet? Have each day be a row and each bullet point a column. We'll see what it comes up with. All right, so our export is finished and it looks very successful. We've got an outline here of our lessons with our objectives, text use, hooks, all that good stuff. So I can save this off, and if I come back to a future conversation with my assistant, I can actually upload this and it can read it. And so it's a good history of our conversation. So next I'm going to ask ChatGPT to kind of flesh out this lesson, lesson 3, a little bit. And there's a few things I might want to change on it, and so we're going to look at how we can use our assistant to build on these ideas. So this is week 1, lesson 3. So I'm going to ask ChatGPT, let's create a detailed plan for week 1, lesson 3. So taking a look at the lesson plan, we've got an introduction hook where we've got a YouTube video clip and a discussion question. I actually went out to YouTube and looked to see if this video existed. It does, but not with this exact same name. I had to just search for Cahokia Smithsonian, but I was able to find a 2-minute clip. We've got a lecture here. I may ask ChatGPT to flesh out some more points on this lecture to help me out, but it's saying, use this article as a primary source for the lecture content, so that's great. I really like this fishbowl activity it's come up with, and it gives a good explanation of how the fishbowl activity should work, and it gives some good guiding questions that we could use. And it says here, resource, use a handout with discussion questions and key points to guide that, so we could have it produce that if we want. It's homework. I don't know if I quite like that. I would prefer it just come up with maybe a reading assignment on our objective with a lesson guide. So I might ask it to do that. Say, let's change the homework to a reading assignment on Cahokia. You provide a reading guide to assist students. Great, so it's updated our homework assignment to have students just read that article that I based my lecture on, and it produced a nice reading guide broken down by section that can help the students make sure they're comprehending the article. Perfect, I'll save that off and use that. Yeah, and so it's used the article of 10 good hooks, and we've got a new suggestion: present students with images of various artifacts from Cahokia without revealing their purposes. In pairs, have students brainstorm and write down what they think the artifacts might be used for. Great, that sounds like a decent hook. So I hope this video gave you some ideas on how you can use custom GPTs to create a much more tailored approach to your lesson planning. And just remember, there's a lot more that it can do. I plan to have a few more videos come out. The next one I plan to do is on how you can use custom GPTs to grade multiple student assignments at once. So look for that in the future. Thanks.